And as usual, we meet with Global Chief Economist Philippe Darvisnet for his editorial. Hello, Philippe.
Hello.
So, what can we say of the indicators published in the last couple of weeks?
What I will focus on is the revision of the US GDP, up from 1.9% to 3.3%. That confirms that we are far from a recession. This good surprise came from both the fact that the households have spent a lot of the tax rebate they benefited over the last few months, and more importantly, from the positive contribution of foreign trade, both on the side of exports, which have been sustained by the weakness of the dollar and by the resilience of emerging markets, which were consumers for US manufactured goods. And on the other hand, with the slowdown of the domestic demand, we had also a drop in US imports. That said, these tax rebate impact are behind us now, mostly, and it is hard to think that the positive contribution of trade will be as high as it was recently in the next few quarters, just because plenty of countries are slowing down. So my guess is there will be a weaker economy in the coming quarters in the US. And when it comes to the Eurozone, we had also a confirmation, that is that the decoupling story was just bullshit. And we have seen this economic activity in Euroland contracting by 0.3% last quarter. That was an indication that we had coming from surveys, by the way. Many people didn't believe it, they were right. As you know, there are a lot of headwinds which the Eurozone is confronted to. One is the downturn of the housing sector in countries like Portugal, Spain, Ireland. Another thing is that the increase in inflation has contracted purchasing power, and that was an adverse outcome for consumption. Another thing is, of course, the consequences of the financial crisis.
So what will be the consequences for the monetary policies?
Well, my guess is if there was not this fear of an extra financial turmoil in the US, next move would be an increase in rates. But because of this fear, it won't happen before the middle of next year, probably. What is preventing a further drop is the fact that growth is there, as I mentioned, and second, that inflation is quite in an uncomfortable territory, even if we believe that the drop in oil prices is to mitigate things. When it comes to Euroland, inflation has reached a peak 1 month ago at 4%. It's now down to 3.8%, but that's too much. That's too much when compared to the ECB target, which is 2 basically. And also there is a fear of the so-called second round effect, that is the impact on wages and so on and so forth. So my guess is ECB is on a wait-and-see mode, and that for a few more quarters.
Thank you, Philippe. And your editorials are published each week on BNP Paribas' website.